Hello there, Scorpio. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the month of March. And the first section that we're going to look at is going to cover March the 1st through the 14th. After that, we'll look at March the 15th through the 31st. For those of you who are cross-watchers and are here to find out about Scorpio, you are more than welcome to be here. I just want you to keep in mind that this is about Scorpio and for Scorpio. So if you want to find something that is about you and for you, then you want to go ahead and watch a video that covers your sun sign, your moon sign, or your rising sign, or whatever combination thereof works for you. So, fellow Scorpios, let's see what kind of energy is coming in for us for March. March. The year is already marching on. Seems like we just barely had the inauguration. And already we're moving into springtime. All right, my dears, cards are on the table. Let's see what we have. Okay, looking at environment for this time frame, Scorpios. So environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So for most of us, yes, this would be home. But for some people, this could be work or school as well. It does look like there are big changes coming through in the environment. It looks like the environment is becoming a lot more peaceful. And it looks like that this is happening, that it's happening kind of slowly. It's a slow transition from where it was hectic and not peaceful before to coming into this peaceful place. And I think that transition is happening in a large part because of the actions that we are taking. Next thing I'm looking at does talk to me about subconscious leanings, Scorpios. And so when I'm looking at subconscious leanings during this time frame, it looks like we're definitely stashing something back or holding something back. So we could be holding money back. We could be holding back on sharing our emotions too. It looks like there's something going on where there was somebody in our sphere of influence who has made a decision against us that was not a fair decision. And since they've done that, now we're holding back from that person. We're not letting them know just everything about us, and especially when it comes to finances, we're not letting them know just everything about us. Next thing that we have coming up talks to me about learning style and also communication style during this time frame. I do feel like we are finding a lot of information that is coming at us in a almost want to say written format, but then I'm being shown like educational videos. So I'm going to say we're learning some things through a format that has been put together to teach, whether that's in writing, whether that's in video, audio, whatever. I do think that we are learning something that is technically being taught. This isn't just picking up information because we're curious, what I'm seeing here. Now, there is some information, of course, that we're picking up as we're curious, and I think that has to do with conversation going back and forth between us and people in our sphere of influence. Has to do with us picking up that information. And then also for learning style, I do think that there is something that we had started learning at some point and had, learned a reasonable amount. I think we're still learning just little bits here and there as we go forward. Now, communication style, what do we have? I think that there is definitely somebody that we're holding back on communication with. Where did we see that? We saw that in the environment as well. There's someone that we're holding back. We have things that we would like to say to them, but we're not actually saying those. We're basically biting our tongue and holding that back. We do have some friends around us that we're able to talk freely with, though. And last but not least, I do think there's something going on where we're communicating with somebody that I think that we are suspicious of this person. We don't necessarily trust their motives. I do think that we're communicating with them quite a bit, and I feel like a lot of what we're communicating with them about, we are really kind of using as subject matter to test this person out and see if they're trustworthy or not. You know, as Scorpios, we don't trust everybody. You've got to earn that stuff. Okay, so next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about work, Scorpio. It does look like we're partnering up with somebody whenever it comes to work and collaborating in a very big way. And it looks like, how is this all playing out together? I think that as we're collaborating with one company or with one person, I think that we are going quiet with another one, and we're not really doing much work with another one. And it may be just a natural progression of, that's just kind of, we have worked with this other person until the job is done and until, they're ready for different things. And so if that's what's going on, it looks like it's going on, we are winding down with that customer or that client or with that employer at the same time that we are picking up and going strong with another one. I don't think there's any break in between. I don't think there's vacation in between. All right, the next thing that we're looking at, fellow Scorpios, has to do with that part of our personality which is being grown or expanded during this particular time frame. It does have to do with collaboration, and this is collaboration about information. So we could be learning from somebody else, or we could be teaching somebody else once I look at this. And I think that, yeah, I think that there's somebody that we are working with here that could be getting a little bit moody. And I feel like we're actually trying to teach this person something. And I feel like this person is getting a little bit moody about their own circumstances and how things have been working out for them. And I think that it might be a little bit difficult to get their attention so that they can pay attention to the things that we're able to share with them to help them. And so I think that where we're growing and expanding is in learning how to be able to share information with somebody who is maybe not in the best space to start with, and that obviously needs this information. And that's why they're not in the best space, because they need this information. Okay? They just don't know it. All right, so the next thing that we're looking at, fellow Scorpios, has to do with those things that we stand for during this time frame. This is going to be something that somebody wants to talk to us about. They want an explanation, or maybe they even out and out confront us, and so we have to defend this thing. But whatever this is a situation where I feel like we are sort of focusing on our own thing, doing our own thing going forward. I think that we have made a decision that we're not going to be flighty about something. We're not going to start something and not finish it. We have made a decision that we're going to follow through on some type of project that we're working on. And so the person who has asked us about this or confronted us about this, whichever way the case may be, how they feel after we explain the situation, they feel like we're definitely working on something. We've got some alchemy going on. We are manifesting the things that we want to manifest. I think that they're also feeling that like they're a little bit left out in the cold because we're so focused on what it is that we want to work on, we want to manifest. And it makes them feel pretty insecure about what their position is with us whenever we are so focused on this project that we're working on for ourselves. So it's bringing about insecurity in this other person. Now, the next thing that we're going to look at, fellow Scorpios, talks to me about the flex point during this time frame. So this is when we have a listener experience that changes our perspective and that changes our trajectory as we're moving forward in life. Okay, so it looks like we are definitely setting a foundation stone on something. We're beginning something that we're expecting to be rock solid, and we are expecting to build it up. I think that we are very, very, very happy about this. However, there is some backlash, and I think the listener experience, part of that listener experience is that there's some backlash here. We're doing very, very well, and other people are having a hard time with the idea that we're doing well. In their minds, maybe they didn't see us as somebody who could do well, or at least not this well. And so I think that they are, I think we're hearing about it, basically. I think we're hearing about it. You know, they could be saying, oh, well, this isn't really all that good, blah, 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 or I can't believe you really did that, or there's no way that you actually did this, or whatever it is that they're saying. I just think we're hearing some backlash from them where they're just really, they have no confidence, and they're showing their vote of no confidence in us. All right? So at the same time that we're doing well and somebody else is being a total skeptic about how well we're doing, I think that we are also walking back into something that we had left behind before, something where we had a contract or agreement with somebody. I think we're walking back into that contract or agreement and bringing some healing into a situation there. So it could be that that we walked away from a contract or an agreement because, well, it could be for any reason. But now, we know that, well, I think that when we walked away, we were being depleted. We didn't have enough energy to keep standing up to this contract or agreement. And generally, the way this walk away happened, the other person was not holding up their end of the agreement because it was not a mutual give and take type of thing. So I think we're coming back to this contract now. I think we're renegotiating this contract basically with somebody and making it something that is actually workable for both of us. So if maybe say that we were not affordable, then we're coming into a price range where the other person can actually afford us, and the other person is also agreeing that, okay, yes, I'm going to actually pay you, where maybe they didn't before. So, that's just an example, but basically we're going back to an old contract or agreement that we had walked away from because we were feeling depleted. Now we're walking back and we're finding some healing in that process of walking back to it. And all of that is a part of this success that we're having, and is reflected in this person saying, well, you couldn't do this. There's no way you did this, whatever it is that they said. So also going on, we are partnering up with somebody here, and I think that this is actually bringing us a whole lot of happiness. I think that this partner that we're getting together with, whether it's a romantic partner, business partner, friend partner, whatever it is, I think that we're very happy to get together with this person. I think that we can see a lot of benefits coming out of this, a lot of happiness coming out of this. However, there is one thing to know here, and that is that that partner has some money issues that they haven't really spilled the beans on just yet. I think they are going to be spilling the beans on after we officially get together with them. So, if you have somebody that you're thinking about partnering up with and you think it would be a great idea, make sure that you read the small print first. Make sure you ask those types of questions so you know exactly what you're getting into. And then once we get to the end of this time frame, it looks like somebody has shown us their true colors here, and we've decided that, we need to take them off a pedestal. They're not as great and special and wonderful as we thought they were. Doesn't mean they're a bad person. They're just not living up to our fantasies or our dreams of how wonderful they are. And I do think that we're still going to be working together with this person or collaborating with this person in some way. Although I think that once we've seen their true colors, we're going to be feeling a lot less enthusiastic about that collaboration than what we were before. Okay? So that is for the first half of the month. I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, we'll hit the last half of the month. See you soon. Again, this time we're going to look at March the 15th through the 31st, fellow Scorpios, and see what comes up for the second half of March as far as energies that are active in our sphere of influence at that time. So let's put down some cards and see what comes up. All right, fellow Scorpios. Let's see what shows up here. I am a Scorpio sun, Taurus rising, and Pisces moon. So when I'm looking at our environment, what I have showing up here, it looks like there could be a little bit of isolation in our environment. We could be spending some time alone. I think that as we're doing that, we are working on finding our balance. I think we might be feeling a little bit lonely as we're isolated, and so I think we're working on finding our balance of getting that interaction with other people so that we don't feel so lonely. And it feels like we are doing things sort of behind the scenes that not only benefit ourselves but do benefit others here in the environment. So that could be at home, that could be at the office. Kind of depends, the environment's any place where you have energy or effort invested. So you want to keep your mind open on that. But isolated, working behind the scenes, and really having the challenge of trying to stay balanced as far as with social interactions with other people. All right, let's look next at our subconscious leanings during this time frame. It looks like we are thinking about making a major transformation, and this transformation has to do with someone from our past. And this person in our past is somebody who I think is showing up in the present, and I think they're showing up as somebody who is stumped, that has problems, doesn't know how to deal with those problems or get around those problems, and they may be dealing with a little bit of depression or feeling like they have the blues over that. And so we want to make a major transformation around the interactions that we're having with this person. I think that for a lot of us, subconsciously, we're realizing that trying to be there for this person or even just be a friend to this person is really draining us. And so we're wanting to make some transformations in those interactions so that we can find a way to not necessarily cut this person out or anything, but to be able to have interactions with this person without feeling like we're drained at the end of them. So we may be setting some boundaries about things that we'll talk about and things that we won't, or when we'll talk to them, things like that. And that's what we've got going on in our subconscious. We may or may not actually be taking action on that during this time frame, but it is definitely something that we are giving some thought at a deep level. Now, the next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about learning style and also communication style. We're going to start with learning style. It looks to me like we're learning something new about somebody's reaction, probably a particular person. For some of us, maybe we're learning something new about how people react in general. But I think that for most of us, we're learning about how a particular person reacts to something. We may be stumbling upon some triggers that somebody has in our sphere of influence and learning about, how, when we trigger somebody, how they behave and what actually triggers them that I feel like we're not really even suspecting. La da da, at least until we see it. I also see that we are learning about manifesting and about abundance in general, not just finances, but abundance in general. And we may be learning about herbs or plants, planting things. We may be thinking about putting things out in the garden for some of us here. I feel like in general we're learning from Mother Nature, whether we're looking at planting plants or not. I feel like we're learning from Mother Nature is showing up as well here. Now, as far as communication style, I do feel like we have a strong group of people that we communicate with on a pretty regular basis. And I think that we are communicating with them. We are trying to communicate with them in good ways. We're trying to communicate things that are helpful to that group or to that base of people that we communicate with on a regular basis. Looks like we're also working on how can we transform our communication into something that is more appealing and more acceptable to those who we are trying to influence in a positive way without actually candy coating anything. And I think that there is somebody that we're talking to about our goals that we have and things that we're doing to reach those goals. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about work for us Scorpios. Okay, so towards the end of March, it looks like there may be some things that are sort of falling through the cracks whenever we have work. There may be more on our plates than what we're actually able to handle right then. I do feel like we're really disappointed about this, but I don't feel like we've lost our job or we've lost our income or anything like that. I just feel like we have so much on our plate that we're not able to keep up with all of it. All right, next thing that I'm looking at, talks to me about that part of our personality which is growing or expanding during this particular time frame. It looks to me like we're going through a little bit of contrast, and there's some confusion that is going on during this time frame. And I think that we are trying to take any disappointments that we've run across and sort of let those go and focus on the opportunities that are in front of us so that we can move forward with them. But there's this sense of dissatisfaction that kind of pervades even as we're looking towards those other opportunities and working towards those. I think there's a dissatisfaction and sort of a restlessness here about, I think we're having a hard time letting go of those disappointments even though we're still moving forward. And not letting go of something as we're moving forward can make it really difficult. And that may be what's going on with that sense of restlessness, that we're not quite grabbing those opportunities the way we normally would. Okay, so next thing that I'm looking at, fellow Scorpios, talks to me about those things that we stand for or those things that we defend. Somebody has confronted us about this in one way or another. And so I think that the situation we're talking about here is that somebody basically has shown us their true colors. We're not as thrilled about them as we used to be. And we certainly aren't feeling very secure around them at all. And in fact, I think to me, it looks like we feel like being around this person is probably holding us back from moving forward in our life. So the other person, after we've had this conversation, they see us as somebody who is highly independent, definitely. Somebody who really is not looking at things in the most positive way possible. And somebody who is, at the same time of being highly independent, also really a good collaborator. Somebody who doesn't lose their sense of self as they're collaborating. So interesting viewpoint there. Really interesting viewpoint. You don't see that come up too often in the cards. Doesn't mean it's not around a lot. I just don't see that too often in the cards. Okay, so next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about our flex point. And so as we come into our flex point, it looks to me like we are taking a little bit of a break. There's a lot of energy that we're expending, and I feel like I don't necessarily want to say it's scattered, but it's definitely not going to the usual place that it normally would. And I think we're taking a break from our normal stuff, sort of stepping back from that, and then really committing to it once we get done. I feel like this other energy that's being directed somewhere else, I feel like that's a temporary thing. It's like a big push. That's a big temporary push. And then once we get to the other side, I think we get recommitted to getting back into everyday daily life. All right. And then let's look at what else is going on at that same time. Yep, I think that we are recovering from something that happened in the past where something was suddenly and unexpectedly taken from us that made us feel secure. Now we're finding something that makes us feel even more secure than that thing in the past did. This is actually making us really, really happy, and it's helping us in two ways. It's helping us with increasing our finances and also with feeling like we are a part of things, like we're making a difference in things. Okay, so that's a nice change to see come in. What else is going on at this time? Okay, so it does look like there is, I'm going to say there's an ending. There's basically a goodbye that shows up here. And it looks to me like this is one that I think we're saying goodbye to somebody and we are moving forward. We're moving into something new. And I don't think that the goodbye is permanent. I think we'll see this person again. But I don't think that they are taking it very well. I think that this is pretty hard for them to see us with this goodbye. All right, so next thing that I'm looking at is this is where we are at the end of the month. And it looks to me like there is somebody that we're collaborating with, whether this is a friend, a romantic partner, whether this is a business partner. There's definitely somebody that we are collaborating with, we're working with, and we're planning towards the future with this person. Okay? Definitely planning towards the future. I think that there may be something going on where we are letting go of something from the past that was more negative energy than positive. As we're planning for the future, that is part of that plan, is letting go of the past and going for that ideal that we've been wanting. So going for that goal or that real ideal that we're having. So I think that we are, actually, I'm not even going to say going for that goal. I think we are at that goal. I think we're at that ideal at that point while we're collaborating with somebody. Okay. So that is our month, Scorpios. Let me go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you all very much for spending some of your precious time with me. I know you have a lot of different people you can watch. I thank you for watching me. Thank you also for the thumbs ups on the video. Thank you for sharing this video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I don't know if you can hear that horn honking. I don't think it's too far away. It must be the neighbors. But anyway, also thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions. I appreciate every single one of you. Everyone have a fantastic month. And if I don't see you for a private reading or a private Reiki session between now and then I will see you back on the next video. Peace out.